Hey, Jeb, you know what this is?
Did you win?
Jeb, you know what this is?
What is that?
It's my victory pose!
Is it because it looks like a V?
Yeah!
I thought I had you too towards the end. Like, it was getting there, and I was like, oh, I'm going to get him. And then you play the stupid mushroom card, and that just, yeah.
But you know what? You didn't.
Alright, let's put that behind us so I don't have to think about it ever again.
It's been a while since I won on screen here, so we will relish and we will enjoy the experience to know that Jeb lost. Alright, so anyways, hopefully you guys watched the gameplay of Centipede, because I think there's some important stuff there. Again, we'll tag IDW or whoever else. Hopefully, if we made any mistakes, either watchers or the creators can let us know. For the most part, I think we got a pretty good grasp on the game.
Yeah.
Even if we did some stuff wrong, I think it probably didn't matter too much.
Yeah, we tried to do the best that we could. There might have been like a forgotten mushroom or two here or there, but...
yeah, I think we forgot a mushroom. I think the most important thing is if we were moving
the movement
wrong,
of the
I think for the most part we got that right, because it really has the feel of the game. So that aside, what do you think?
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Hey, was this the only game you bought at PAX?
No.
Yes, it was. It kind of wasn't. Was it the only new game that you bought at PAX?
Yes.
Because you already knew you wanted the other game that you bought?
It was the only other completely new game at PAX that I bought. But it was really cool because, I mean, when you walk into a board game convention, do you expect to see arcade games in board game form? No. So when we saw it, I was like, it's something that I definitely want to check out. And as you can see, I bought it at the convention. So
he did, and
I really enjoy it. I think the mechanics does the game justice, aside from your flea.
Oh, yeah, I already ranted on my flea.
But yeah.
I am in the same boat as Jeb. We both walked by the booth and we were like, because the artwork and stuff, grab the top again, in case it's spinning. The artwork is really reminiscent of the side of the machine.
Right.
And we walked by, and if you didn't watch the PAX review, they had Centipede advertised, Joust advertised, Asteroids advertised, and Missile Command. Centipede's the only one in existence right now.
And
but when we saw that, I know. But when we saw the panel, we were like, we need to see what's up with that. I don't remember where I was when Jeb got to actually talk to the guy and get a little overview.
Yeah.
I was demoing something else, and he came back and was like, Mickey, I think I'm going to buy this. So I'm really glad that he did, because I was tapped at that point. And as you can see by the game, I think what Jeb just said in terms of how they were able to reflect the feel of the video game, I thought was really, really awesome. If you're wondering, like, about, well, wait a second, Centipede had a trackball. I think they compromised with having your control panel down there to help with that, because the control panel actually gives you some extra rather than just the randomness of the dice. And if you think about it, that extra would have been like, ooh, I can move up a little bit on the
because you said it was like a field that you could go up and down and stuff like that.
Because you don't have the up and down, but you do. They did, in my opinion, a really, really, really good job of trying to translate a video game with controllers that are a little bit more abstract rather than like the Pac-Man, up, down, side, side, where you've got a little bit more free move and you know, unlimited fire and things like that. You know, so they broke it down into like, hey, let's give the Centipede, obviously it's a game board, so it can't just keep going, and we'll make his firing a little random, because let's face it, most of us, we held down that fire trigger and just rolled that thing around. You know, come on. That's what we all did. Except for you people that had the high score and that had a lot of quarters that I didn't have. But this really was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. When I was going to the arcades, I loved Centipede. I really did. Because I was actually better at Centipede than, say, some of the other ones that are coming out. But I'm really looking forward to some of the other ones. So I don't really have anything bad to say about the way that they designed this thing.
Right. The only thing was the flea, was that you think that it wasn't consistent with the game, but they could have done that just because of the translation to a board game.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know why they went like
Right.
that, but what we were told is the flea, once he gets to the bottom, he will just sit down there. I know you can't see my hand, but I'm placing a flea at the bottom, and he sits there until the gnome shoots him. Another reason why I feel like that's not quite fair is we've played this game a couple times now, and it's rough to be the gnome. But it was rough in the video game to be the shooter too.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it takes away from what they were going for, but I do feel it, like, I don't know if it needs the extra hardness.
Right.
Like, so I'm, at this point, without having played it, like, 10, 15 times, I'm going to say I really wish the flea would drop its mushrooms wherever it wanted and then
leave.
Maybe go off the board.
Either leave or go back to the top, like you said.
Because since it's a movement of 2, when you drop the flea, you could kind of try to decide, like, am I going to get one turn where it ends and make it sit before it goes off the board? Otherwise, if it gets to the end and it had one more movement, then it does go off the board. But you could still leave a mushroom beyond
That's true. Put a
the
mushroom right there.
dot thing, and it still makes him shoot it. So, as Jeb knows, that was my only salty point. He thinks I'm salty because that actually helped him win the first game. But you know what? He had to play Gnome this time, and he lost. Gnome's hard.
Gnome is hard. I will give you that. Because, sitting there, I was like, I just want to shoot you. I'm like, I can't. I got to play it right.
I feel like we could probably get better during setup too. I feel like there's probably, once you get the hang of it, you have a better idea where to put mushrooms to help you strategize. Of course, the other person, if they know what you're trying to do, can probably counter what you're trying to do, which again makes the game pretty awesome. So. 2 thumbs up for me. I think it's awesome. I can't wait for the other ones.
You got thumbs up for me, and I'm excited about Asteroids and was it Missile Command?
We have coming down the pipe is Asteroid, Missile Command, and Joust.
I can't remember the order that they're coming in, but I thought they said there was like one in February-ish time frame.
The back of your rule book says coming soon, and they listed Missile Command and Asteroid, so I feel like Joust is the one that's supposed to be coming in the summer.
Yeah.
And Asteroids and Missile Command are coming shortly.
It was like February, March, April, something like that. So. And
after playing, Jeb and I were, we were talking back and forth and trying to guess what they might do with the other games. And I think we both had they could do this and this and this and this for Asteroids. Missile Command, we have no idea how they're going to pull that one off. We really want to see how they're going to pull that one off because, if you remember, you got the lines coming down trying to hit you, and then you had that trackball that you could literally line up your defense and be shooting that would and those bursts that if the missiles coming down hit the burst, they died. So how are they going to... we're really looking forward to that. And why we're looking forward to that is because Centipede plays really, really well.
Yeah,
it really does. Yeah. One of the better asymmetrical games that I think we've seen. And relatively simple once you grasp the concept of... I think the hardest concept is the movement of the bugs.
Yeah.
I think everything else is really pretty easy.
I will say that the rules, there were some things that were kind of questionable, like why they were in certain places.
Oh, yeah.
Because our first read-through, it was like, well, we didn't see anything that said a new Centipede gets made when you split it or whatever, and it turns out that was in a completely different section.
Yeah, it's not where you would think that it is, so when you if you give the rules a read through, just be really... mindful of what you're reading.
Yeah.
If you watch the gameplay, you probably picked up enough, so if you skim them, you should be good. But, Jeb's right. Some of the stuff we would put in different areas when you're trying to look it up. You're like, where is the ruling on this? And it's kind of somewhere where, in our opinion, it shouldn't have been.
Right.
Doesn't take away the game, because once you find it,
once you know how to play the game's fun.
Yeah. So I don't have anything else, so we can move into whatever Jeb wants to say.
Things to remember. I know one of them is the for the gnome player, to remember if you used an ability or not. And even just remembering to flip over the card if you didn't use an ability. Because I know the first time we played, I think you might have forgot a couple times.
I did.
And I was even trying to catch myself. I was like, did I use anything?
And that's super important. If you didn't use one of your card abilities and you have some on the X side, you really want to flip them over.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say if there's any more important than the others. But when I played the gnome, the ability to just trash a mushroom, to me, was huge. And forgetting to flip that over really could have cost some stuff. Not that the other stuff's not important, because, you know, even having an extra one movement could be a gigantic, whether you don't have a one move and you want to move one, or if you have too many moves and having one would put you in exactly the right spot that you wanted. So the controller board was a genius idea. I think we both agree, just to compensate for the randomness of the dice, because there really is no there's no card mechanic or anything like that for the gnome to be able to manipulate anything. You make that roll. The only option you have is, if for some reason, if you think all those dice are horribly bad, you have the one card that lets you re-roll them all. And that doesn't guarantee anything.
Right.
So the rest of the controllers, I feel like, really made up for the fact is that the randomness of the dice. And if you're plotting on the board, you know, what you should hit, where you should move, try to keep it, you know, clear, just like you did in the game. I have to make space so that the centipede goes back and forth instead of coming straight down at me.
Yeah. And then the other thing to remember is the movement of the centipede, to remember which way he's going after he moves down one.
Which we talked about.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, to make sure you turn the head whichever way.
I think the only time we kept...
it was when I shot him,
if he was in a column coming straight down, I think there was a couple times where we just kept the head facing down, because we knew for the next couple turns he was just going to bounce back and forth.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's a really, really good idea to always face it in the direction that you know he's going, because if you don't, is it going to ruin the game? Probably not.
Not really.
Is it going to affect the game? Yes, because him turning around,
a big difference
there really is.
Running into a wall or having to run across the entire board.
Exactly. Or taking something out or not taking something out, or however it would come into play. Hopefully we got everything right in this game. I hope people that watch, if we did get something wrong, to let us know, because we do like it.
Yeah.
And we obviously want to, when we're telling people how to play, we want to be able to tell them how to play right. Anything you can think of that...
Anything else?
Anything else that you might forget, or anything else that... or people maybe that wouldn't care for it?
No, the spider on the card, when you spawn it, actually tells you that he doesn't spawn until after the movement, and that's one key thing. But once you kind of know that, then I think you'll remember it. But other than that, I think everything's good, because even the cards that got removed from your deck that added to your speed, they tell you to put it under the board.
Yeah, so it's right there so you can see it.
Yeah.
I feel like this, even though Jeb and I feel like it's a little simple, I don't know that this is a game that I would pull out for a brand new type of gamer.
Right. I definitely want to, like, if it was somebody who played video games and didn't do board games, I would definitely want to see what their thoughts of this was.
Opinion was. I guess if somebody didn't, if they knew that they didn't like an asymmetrical game, which some people might ask you what that means, but basically that means that both sides have a different play style.
Things, yeah.
And so I don't know. I would put this a little bit above a beginner game, even though I feel like it is kind of simple. I don't know why. I just I feel like it has that feel where it might be a little bit overwhelming for a new player, even though if they would sit down and just let you run through it, they'd probably be fine. I don't know. Maybe it's just because of all the pieces. It's a gut feel on that one.
And I don't know how kids would react to it, because...
what's it give for an age?
It's 12 and up. But, I mean, obviously the people who played Centipede or know of Centipede will be like, they'll be curious to at least see what it's like.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, for super young kids who are like, what is this 8-bit that you're talking about? I only know HD graphics. Like, maybe they won't care
oh
for
my
it. But
gosh, if you have that kid, bring him to an arcade.
yeah. So, I don't know if, like, super young kids would even care to, like, try it out. But, I mean, I think it's a fun game, so.
Oh, yeah, the nostalgia factor
for
people, I think, would be great. If you were a fan of that type of thing, definitely. I think definitely something that you should give a try if you were either for a nostalgia factor, asymmetrical factor, relatively quick factor. It got
a lot of long game.
A lot of things going for it, and honestly, not really too complicated. They kept it pretty simple, but I feel like there's a lot of thinking that goes into actually both players' moves, particularly not as much on the bug side until you get a couple bugs, because then it actually makes a difference, and that's why during the game I actually made one mistake where if I would have moved in a different order, I wouldn't have lost a piece of my Centipede.
Right.
But I didn't rewind it because I actually wanted you guys to see that, you know, well, dummy, you just killed a section of your own thing.
Right.
Whereas if that stays on the board, maybe I make you double think what you're trying to do. So, anyways, I have nothing else, and I am glad that Jeb purchased the game that we could review it.
Right.
So, yeah, I definitely agree that Jeb did something right one time. Just once.
So, if you have any questions, comments, if you saw us do anything wrong, definitely let us know. Leave some comments or send us an email. Subscribe if you're not. That way you can see new videos. We got all kinds of games coming, and we are definitely going to check out the other games from IDW for these retro games.
For the looks like they're doing a whole series on Atari games. So
so if you
grew
want
up
to
in the
see that
80s.
stuff, subscribe to us, and then one day you'll see asteroids pop up.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So,
anyways,
all right. Until next time.
See ya.
Boards and booze, booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb.